Hello everyone, I'm Richard Watson and this is Anglais the Easy Way. Today I'd like to talk to you about the difference between knowledge and skill. Now, this isn't linked necessarily to English. You can talk about this in many contexts. We tend to be in a culture that feels that learning means accumulating knowledge, but it doesn't necessarily convert or transform improving your skills. This is one of the things we learn from kids. Kids pick up skills much more easily than adults who just like to collect knowledge. We have this feeling when we're learning a language that you need to understand something, to really feel it in order to use it. But I think it works the opposite way. You have to use it until you can feel it. And that's unnatural for us, but that's often how it works. Keep doing it until it feels right. There's an old expression in English which says, don't ask, practice. Basically, that means if you ask the question without practicing enough, you won't be ready for the answer. But if you practice a lot, maybe you won't need to ask a question. Okay, you might say, well, how do I actually do that? I'll give you an example from chess. There's a famous chess coach called Willie Hendricks who suggested that to help build up the intuition of kids about what a good chess game should be like or what a good move could be or typical strategies or tactics or combinations, that you should set them in front of a classic game and let them watch it with like 1 or 2 seconds per move. No explanation, not enough time to really calculate. Let them watch it like a cartoon, he says. But let them watch hundreds of games. Let them build up their skill and their intuition about what a good move is, what a bad move is, and why things are good or bad. And then I'd say, well, how about you? Go and build up your skills. And what kind of skills can you build up? Well, the skill of listening. People are constantly trying to find easier and easier things to listen to. I understand that people want subtitles and transcripts and they want to understand as close to 100% as they can. But sometimes the real learning comes from more difficult situations. If you need to survive in an environment where people are really speaking English and speaking real English, you'll manage to do it sooner or later. We've already talked about people who find themselves in a foreign country for 6 months or a year. Somehow they manage to make enormous amounts of progress, especially in listening. Somehow they just seem to understand things, and we're the same. So listen to things that are difficult. Listen to things where you don't understand all of it, and just keep practicing. Sit there. You don't want to understand everything. It's too easy if you understand everything. And what you're doing, you're picking up lots and lots of different types of skills. You're practicing listening and understanding when you're not sure. You're listening in difficult situations. You're trying to find words you've heard but you've never seen written. That's how you develop real skill. That's the kind of skills we're talking about. It's not book knowledge. It's not things you learn or memorize. You're acquiring a language, not learning it. And guess what? It's the same for pronunciation. If you want to practice saying things better, well, practice saying things better. It's as simple as that. If you want to practice speaking, and if you want to improve your pronunciation, go and listen to this episode again, or any other episode. Listen to a sentence, pause, and repeat it. And try and repeat it like me. You can work on very precise things, even with that technique. For example, we can talk about stress patterns in words. If you're not sure what that means, well, listen to these words. Photograph, photography, photographic. Now, I'll give them to you again. Listen carefully. Photograph, strong syllable, weak syllable, weak syllable. Photograph, photograph. That's how you say it in English. That's the way you say it. Relax on the second 2 syllables. Photograph. The next one, photography. Listen how weak that first syllable is. Photography. And the last one, photographic. Weak, weak, and strong. Photographic. I'll give you another one. Present. Like the present tense or the present simple, or I have a present for you for Christmas. Well, that's fine, but what about this? I'd like to present John. I didn't say present, I said present, because it's a verb. So we change the stress pattern because it's a different word. It's normal that it sounds different. One more for you. Strategy. Strategy. And compare that with strategic. Strategic. Different stress pattern because it's a different word. Now, are you going to sit down and make a list and memorize them? No, don't do that. But you can just go out there, listen to someone, and repeat it or notice it, you can do that with any of these episodes. Listen carefully, stress on the first syllable, listen carefully, and repeat. You're good at that. That's how you learn your language. And eventually you'll start to pronounce things the right way. Some people think it's too complicated, but if you learn the pronunciation of the word when you learn the word, it's much simpler. It's like when you're learning French. Don't try and learn the nouns without learning if it's masculine and feminine. Learn it at the same time. It's too late afterwards. Sometimes I think about how pronunciation is done in France. Again, I'm not trying to attack France in particular, but I do know the system in France. There's a lot of analyzing, there's a lot of grammar, there's a lot of rules and structures, but there's not enough listening. And the problem is if you don't have enough listening in English, then you can't imagine how to pronounce a word, and that means you can't recognize it. It's almost like if every person invents their own pronunciation of English in their head because they're reading, and then they don't understand what English people say because it doesn't correspond to what they imagined. Imagine a ridiculous situation when we did that in French. Imagine if every English speaker had to learn French by talking and speaking and never reading it. And they practice speaking and listening, and we get really good at French. And then we ask every English person to decide how French should be spelt. I guarantee it would look nothing like French. And I guarantee that each English person would come up with their own spelling system. That's nonsense. It would be catastrophic. That's what pronunciation's like for French people. Not catastrophic, but it's the same idea. You don't need to invent the pronunciation. Just listen carefully and just pick it up. It's out there. Anyway, that's enough. I'll catch you next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this, and I'll catch you next time.